Good morning, it's Philip with RTX Honeybees. Just wanted to make a quick video about wax melting, specifically wax melting brood comb and whether or not it's worth it or not. And I hope this video reveals whether it is or not. I've got a bunch of comb here that's got some pretty significant wax moth damage. I think I've got 9 frames of this. Not all of it does. There's some over here, but just brood comb, even without this kind of damage, can tend to, not yield very much when you try to melt it down for wax. So I'm going to try to do that with this. I also recently did a cutout, and I got some wax that's not wax moth damaged, but let me show that guy to you all. First of all, here's each of the wax moth damaged frames. I mean, you can see it's pretty significant. Probably not worth reusing. That one's not quite as bad. That one, it is on the other side though. So I know Mike Berry likes to let the wax moth go ahead and finish it off. I found this with lots of larvae crawling through it, lots of cocoons, and I froze it and killed the wax moths. But I want to go ahead and show you guys this too. Okay. This is some of the comb just from the cutout. It's probably a little bit more, but we'll do this in 2 separate batches. I'm going to do this as the first batch, and that is the second batch. One thing I am excited about showing you all is this little thing I came up with. Put this in the pot and push it down. That'll hold all the slum gum below and let the wax rise up to the top. So, pretty excited about that, and I'll tell you guys later how I came up with that idea. I've got some water in this pot. I'm just going to get to scraping this down, tearing it apart, and reusing it. Some of this is plastic frame, some of it's wired foundations, foundationless. Got kind of a mixed bag here. One thing is for sure, it's a lot harder to take off of this plastic foundation than it is when you're dealing with foundationless. This is a job. No wonder Mike likes to let the wax moths do this. This is work. There it goes. That was better. See that catastrophe? Probably need to do this somewhere where I'm not shaking this pot as bad. This is kind of cool. Clear or transparent foundation. I bought it, but I bought it when I bought my bees. This is what came with my bees, but on some of them. But yeah, isn't that wild? Hadn't seen that before. I'm definitely not going to reuse that. It's extremely thin stuff. Wow. I don't know if you can see that, but that had a metal edge on it. wires. Boy, I'm jealous of Richard Noel's little system where you can throw these whole frames down in a steam pot and really get the wax off of them. All right. It's going to be just more of the same, me cleaning that off, so I'm going to pause you guys and bring you back when I get it all in there. All right. I couldn't fill up the pot any deeper. It's pushed all the way to the bottom, so I'm just going to have to wait. Hopefully this will melt enough that I can push this down and get the rest of this in there. But I got all the frame stripped out. Well, there's not much else for us to do except wait for that to melt down, so I'll see you guys in just a little bit. It just might fit. Did I overfill it? Might have. I push this down in there, I can kind of feel it going through solids top to bottom. So this is mostly trash. We'll see if there's any waxings up on top. You can see a little bit forming up here. Yeah, I may have to dip a little of this out of there before I press this down in there. So let me talk to you guys about this thing. When I used to do this, I would come in and I would scoop off a lot of this and just throw it away. But what I found was there was a lot of wax in this when I would use this method, when I would pull this out. Then I saw Cayman Reynolds on a visit to Hawaii. He visited somebody and they had this big stainless steel thing that they would push the slum gum down and then let the wax congeal while it was holding the slum gum down, and they'd end up with a pretty clean piece of wax, and they wouldn't lose a lot of it by trying to strain out the slum gum like this and throwing it in a pot. I may have to strain a little bit out of here just because I don't think I've got enough area there to displace. This is a 3/4 inch piece of plywood cut to match the radius of this. I took a piece of sheet metal. The first time I did this, I didn't have the sheet metal. It didn't work very good because there was only this amount of area to trap slum. So I added this sheet metal to it, which gave this much area to trap slum for it to start trying to escape. And there's probably way more slum in this than this will trap. That's just some window screen stapled to the top. I notched the disc, put a couple of pieces of wood there, and then I nailed this to it. And the reason this is wide and flat is because my anticipation is that this would want to float. So I've got this wide enough I can put some bricks on it. It friction fits in this pot good enough that I don't have to use bricks, but if it didn't, that'd be a good thing to have as a surface to put the brick, to put some heavy weights on it. I was really hoping there was enough air trapped down in here that as I stirred it a little bit, it would give me a little more headspace to push my strainer down into it. And there's so much junk in here. This is not a normal process, part of this process. I just need to get some of this out of there to be able to probably what I'll do is I'll have to do this in 2 steps. I'll probably reload this back in. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and try to get this in there. In theory, all the wax comes through the screen if it's not trapped too much in the slum gun. So it's only going down in there about that far. It needs to go in about that far, but I just may have too much slum in there. I feel like I am going to need my bricks to weight it down. I'm going to go get those. Alright, I'm going to let that stay hot for about 5 more minutes, and I'm going to turn it off, and then we'll just let it cool off. I might bring in a concrete block and set it up there. Alright, this is starting to kind of boil over, so I'm going to cut it off. Completely off, but it's still trying to keep boiling. Alright, we're just going to let it cool off, and hopefully more wax is working its way to the top as it's still boiling, but it's completely turned off. See you in a minute. Okay, I went to work and came home, and I'll see what we got here. How much y'all think we got? We got more already than I think we thought we were going to get. Alright. There's some decent chunks there. Let's see here. It's pretty gross on the bottom, but oh, I'm going to call it about a 1/2 inch. 3/8 to 1/2 inch. I'll have to weigh it to see exactly what we got. So see that? Now let's look down in here. See all that sludge? Pretty much soaked up all the water. There's not any wax in there that I can tell. Looks like it got all the wax. A lot of sludge though. It's like 20 pounds of sludge. Alright, that's what we got. Feels like about not even a pound of wax. So, and I would say I probably in time I probably have about 30 minutes invested. A lot of it's just waiting. I thought when I scooped this out, I thought I would be running it back through, but I didn't really. I mean, there's not much wax there, so I don't think I'm going to run any of this back through. All right, that's the slum that's left. Hardly any water. I'm gonna go dump this in my garden. Come back, start heating some more water so we can do the other comb that wasn't riddled with wax moth. All right, I'm gonna take this, start putting it in here. All right, I'll come back and I'll probably take 20-30 minutes for that to heat up enough to be able to push all that down. I probably didn't even get half of it in there, but we'll just keep it up till we get it all done. Got it all in there. Thinking about adding a little bit more water to it. All right, let's put this down in there. Looks like a little more wax coming to the top quicker on this one. I'm gonna let the heat stay on for a little while and then I'll come turn it off and we'll let it cool. All right, I've turned it off. I'll take it off the hot plate so it'll cool down a little bit quicker, but probably be tomorrow morning. We'll check on how it's doing. All right, this is what we got. Let me set you guys up and remove it and see how thick that piece of wax is. Okay, I forgot to hit record when I was pulling this out of the pot. This is the wax that I got out of that. It's a little bit thicker than the piece from yesterday. Came out pretty clean. I haven't even scraped this off. So I think that's going to render out pretty nice. I think it's going to be decent color yellow. A little bit dark. This old comb that was a little bit darker this is the wax moth damage wax. So I do want to show you guys this. Look at that. There's the little bit of wax that was trying to make it up and didn't. You know, little driplets. But this is working really good. This is the inside of the pot. There's a good bit of slum gum down in the bottom of that too. let's just see how much we ended up with. Okay, from yesterday, that on, zero it out. From yesterday, I got 9.3 ounces of wax. It's a little over half a pound. That was from all this, from 9 frames of wax moth damaged brood comb. So that's an ounce per frame. And then with just the comb, just the brood comb that I got out of the cutout, I got 13.5 ounces. So it's a little wet, so you might be, that's probably not a half an ounce of moisture in that. That's 13.5. Let's just put these two together to see what we've got. 1 pound, 6.8 ounces, a little less than 1.5 pounds. So for this, I think it's worth it. You know, I guess the biggest expense besides my time was heating up the water, which I think I had to heat the water. It's roughly an hour each time. Takes about 30 minutes or so, 45 minutes to get it up to really the temperature, and then I might have let it sit for 10 minutes. So this is definitely worth it for this. I don't know about for if your comb gets that damaged with wax moth, I think you're better off by putting it in a swarm trap. I had this comb stored in a box. It would happen to be on top of a bottom board. It's basically a complete hive because I was bringing it to a friend of mine, and I was just transporting these frames in it, and it was in the back of my truck. And there was a ton of bees going in and out of that, and they weren't just like robbing, because there really was nothing in there to rob. They were flying around the box. They were going in and out. I believe they were sizing it up for a swarm. So, you know, that probably would have been more valuable splitting up between 9 swarm traps if you have that. So anyway, thank you guys for watching.